Hey, welcome to Optimize Your Body with Martin Silva, where we talk raw, uncut facts to truly help you optimize your body. Okay then, mate, so we got some questions for the audience. So my turn now.
Okay, Mark, the first question is, what's the biggest challenge you've faced moving to the other side of the world? What advice would you give to others doing the same?
So for me, it was definitely being away from my friends and family was number one. So, you kind of know that you're going to be missing your family before you do it. You know it's a big move. Moving from the UK across to Australia, it's literally is the other side of the world. So I kind of knew that going into it, but I didn't quite realize how much it makes you value those relationships you have back home more. So that was a number one challenge for me, was being away, because I'm very close with my mother and my sister. We're close-knitted family. So to be away from them at the other side of the world, although you keep in touch with them and stuff, obviously you're still the other side of the world. So that was by far the most challenging thing for me. And I would just recommend to anyone who's thinking of doing it, just go for it, because the bottom line is, you're not going to, when you die or you're on your deathbed, you're not going to regret the things you did. You're definitely going to regret the things you didn't do. So worst case scenario, you can always go back home. You're always going to have a home. And that's the way I look at it. Although I'm like a 24-hour flight away, it's quite a long way on a flight. In the grand scheme of things, you're only one day away from being back home if push comes to shove. So
with that, would you say that you took things for granted when you were here? Obviously with family members, I know you are close to your mother and your sister, as I've seen, like myself personally. Would you say you took those relationships more for granted then, or did you find there's any difference?
I would say I didn't take them for granted that much. However, I would just say, in a sense, just basically being more present with them. So, you kind of just like do your own thing. That's totally normal, right? Just to do your own thing and not really, spending lots of time with your close ones. But at the same time, I think just making a practice of being more present. All the stuff we talk about, really, practicing gratitude, what you're grateful for, is something I wasn't doing back then. And if I was doing that, I think I would have cherished and been even more grateful for them if I had been practicing the things that I am grateful for. And also meditation as well, as we've mentioned lots of times, just practicing being present, because just by doing that, it makes you more aware of when you are, say, on your phone, when you're with your family, or you're around your parents or whatever, and you're on your phone kind of doing stuff on social media, wasting time. It makes you more aware of that, and it makes you do less of that. So if anything, I would say just to practice gratitude and meditation more, to make you more aware of when you're present and when you're not, really.
Okay. So this one's a bit more nutrition related. Have you had to deal with eating disorders on your fitness journey? What were they, and what challenges have you faced overcoming this, if that is the case?
Yeah, so absolutely, as we've alluded to lots of times before on the podcast, we both have had, although we didn't realize it at the time, we both definitely dealt with eating disorders for sure, because I think we always had a pretty poor relationship with food in our 20s, for example. I think especially as we became more self-conscious about how we looked, in the day and age we live in, we've mentioned, social media can play a part in that, but I think it's just coming up as a skinny lad, always being slender and not being very popular generally. I was kind of like mediocre. I was never really, bottom of the ladder in that sense, but I was never a popular guy either, so I was kind of somewhere in the middle, always skinny, and then when I started lifting weights and building some muscle and noticing I was getting more attention, I think that became a little bit of a bad kind of behavior then, because then I was focusing on, just looking good and trying to be more popular, if you like. And then that kind of spiraled out of control a bit more then when I started competing and getting into that competition world then of, being critiqued against other people on stage, and the fitness modeling stuff and all of that kind of stuff then kind of triggered the eating disorder then. I think it made it worse. So obviously restrictive eating for shows and modeling shoots and whatnot, and not really knowing much about nutrition and eating the same foods unnecessarily, such as chicken and broccoli. And then when I would get to show day or to the day of the shoots, I would get the shoot or the show in the bag, and then I would go on, as you witnessed with me, we would go on mad, crazy, unhealthy binge eating episodes, which kind of got out of control. And then we managed to get a grip on that then when we started focusing on health and making that a priority then, and eating more healthy foods gradually over time, eating more vegetables and focusing on, learning more about food sources and the kind of food you should and shouldn't eat. And when we started doing that more consistently, we gradually just binge eating and actually eating those kind of foods as regular as we did became less appealing. So, if that answers that one.
Excellent. And what would you say your biggest insecurities?
Biggest insecurity for me, I guess, it's a good question. I would say is financial freedom, I would say, going forward in the future. Not necessarily about just having money and being rich. That's not really something I desire. Although I do desire to have enough money to live comfortably later down the line. I'd say right now my biggest insecurity, or at least one of them, would be not having myself set up in the future, and in a position where I can travel as much as I want, where I'm not in a position like I am now, which is not a terrible position. I'm living in Sydney, I'm living the dream really, but I'm still paying someone else's mortgage. So I'm still renting, haven't actually got my own property. So I think, if anything, I'd say that was my biggest insecurity really, not having a property or two later down the line where I'd have my pension sorted and I would have enough money in the bank to live the life I want to live essentially going forward, which I know I'm working towards that, but I feel like I'm behind on life sometimes, Drew, you know what I mean? I feel like, because I've enjoyed my 20s, which is totally fine, you need to enjoy yourself, but I feel like I could have been a bit smarter in my 20s if I knew what I know now in terms of saving and investing, you know what I mean? So if anything, I would say that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, again, you've experienced a lot of things in life as well, so when you get to that age where you're 80, 90, and you look back and you say, well, I just saved my whole life.
Yep.
Didn't use it, I didn't have any life experiences with friends or family. Would you regret that on your deathbed? Yes, I'd imagine you would, as opposed to having 5 properties.
Absolutely.
Which you're not really be able to do much with at that point.
That's very true, actually.
You're at the age now where you can start saving, start investing, start doing that in your 30s anyway, so I think you're at a good point there.
That's it. I agree with that. I was wanting to say as well with that's not really what makes you happy and fulfilled anyway, as you mentioned before. Anything external, money, property, wherever that is. Obviously the question was insecurity, so it's more a case of setting myself up so I have freedom later down the line. But yeah, I absolutely agree with that, mate. Yeah, for sure.
In the fitness industry, we bag on about certain things that we don't like. What is your biggest pet peeve that you see in the fitness industry that you dislike at the moment?
My biggest pet peeve is quite a few actually, but my biggest one I would say is online coaches online. Not even if they're not coaches, even if they're so-called influencers, whatever that word actually means, not knowing or not actually taking the time out and being disciplined and passionate enough to learn about nutrition, for example, and dishing out information which is actually damaging people. So my biggest pet peeve is people in a position where they have power in a sense because they've got sometimes millions of followers, if not thousands, hundreds of thousands or whatever, and they're dishing out information which is not only wrong, but is actually doing more harm than good. So it's, for example, giving people the cookie cutter kind of nutrition plan, or it's not even a nutrition plan, a diet plan, where they eat these foods for X amount of time, not knowing anything about nutrition, and actually doing more harm to that person than good. Because again, we mentioned about restrictive eating. A lot of these cookie cutter plans are based on them eating, a certain type of food for X amount of time, and it really doesn't work like that with nutrition. It's so complex that to give someone a fixed diet plan, for example, is it's not going to serve 95% of people. So, yeah, to answer that question, I think it's a case of people out there making out they know stuff they don't know, essentially, and sucking people into their bullshit kind of cookie cutter diet or workout plans or supplements, basically.
I have a huge gripe with it at the moment with the likes of people who are already filthy rich. They then have, liposuction and surgeries to enhance certain body parts. And then they're going online and selling a product to young women or older women, whoever it might be, who are already probably insecure about their bodies because they're comparing themselves to these people who you filter, who have operations, and then they're selling them a shit product, and they don't even need that money, and it just drives me insane. That's my biggest gripe, man. That's a tough thing to see.
I agree with that. Just pure greed and no integrity.
And just playing on people's insecurities, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so if you had something you could tell your younger self, what would that be? And this is going to go for both lifestyle and fitness.
Okay, so
lifestyle related, fitness related.
So yeah, if there's anything I could tell my younger self, it is just like the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's basically stop giving a fuck about things which don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I used to worry a lot about people's perception of me. You know, you can never change the way people perceive you, right? So all you can actually do is be yourself, really, be authentic, and stay true to yourself. Now, when I was younger, I used to worry so much about what people would think and whatnot, and I used to do stuff a lot more to please other people and not necessarily put myself first. So just to answer that question, I would say to really stop giving a fuck about things that don't matter and stop giving a shit about people that don't matter. So I would just, once again, just to recap that, essentially start giving a fuck, just like the book says, about the right things, and stop sweating the small stuff and stop worrying about shit which doesn't matter and you can't change, is out of your control. So for example, I used to worry about what people would think of me in terms of me coming across as a confident, I've been a personal trainer for a long time. It can be intimidating sometimes. People look at me and think I'm going to be a prick because obviously, personal trainers already have that kind of reputation anyway, unfortunately. But also like the way I look as well or whatever, I used to overthink what people would think of me, and I used to make myself quite anxious about it. Whereas now I really don't give a fuck about what people think about me. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what about fitness? Like, is there any fitness-related things you can give away? That would be lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry. Fitness and lifestyle stuff.
So that I would assume that that's kind of comes under lifestyle.
It comes under it, but that's good. Yeah. To go into more detail, I would say just in terms of the way you train, really, and what you do to your body in the gym. A lot of the stuff we did, right, training-wise, was totally unnecessary. It was just chasing an addiction. So that's what I think the listeners need to realize is. High intensity training and training hard and busting your balls in the gym, that is an addiction which you need to be aware of. That feeling of it feels good when you walk out of the gym. You're sweating you're sweating bonkers. You're sweating conkers, right? And your adrenaline is pumping. Your cortisol, all those stress hormones are flowing through your body. You've come in the gym, you've just done a monster workout, and you've literally walked in the gym and you've crawled out. And that's your way of training. That's the way you like to train because that's what you think is going to get you results because you're addicted to the mental side of that feeling. It's no different to a drug. And that's the way I used to be wired with training is go into the gym, hammer my body, hammer one body part, for example. And, it served me. Split routine training, it does have its place. It does get you results. We're not saying that's, hitting one body part at a time doesn't get you results. It does. It got me results, but you can get carried away, can't you?
Yeah, I guess for the average person, though, is that really the way to go? We're talking about dealing with average day-to-day people for the most part who don't have the time to train all, every day. They don't have. They want to recover. They want to do things outside of the gym. As a professional bodybuilder, where you have time and less time to recover. More time for recovery. Maybe a split routine is more suited for you, but. Average people, maybe full body might be better.
Exactly, yeah. So just to answer that, I would say, to train the full body and focus on the fundamental movements, as we always say, squats, deadlifts, which I've always done, but I would have focused on treating, I guess actually, just in one sentence, treat training as a skill and a practice, as opposed to training it as work, hence the word workout, right? It shouldn't be work, it should be going in and practicing a skill just like you would a sport or any other skill, really.
What was the most difficult part of you competing in your first pro show?
The most difficult part, that was actually my last show, wasn't it? My first ever pro show. The most difficult part was, there was a few different things actually, but I think it was actually getting on stage against people who are at another level altogether, for example, because obviously competing as an amateur and competing as a pro, essentially it's a different animal when you get on the pro stage. So it was knowing that the guys I were up against when I turned up, I guess the psychological element was the biggest challenge for me because, as you know, you were there on the day when I turned up, and I think the biggest challenge was not me having the psychological piece in place. So I turned up and I put all the work in, best prep ever. I pretty much brought the condition I needed to bring, but the finishing touches weren't quite there. So I think the main thing I learned was preparation, and actually the people you want to hire to help you. I think you need to delve deeper into that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with that, but I think it was because I wanted people to help me with the prep and help me with my prep as usual. I kind of didn't get that part right, and I don't think that served me on stage. So yeah, just to wrap that up, I would say the most challenging part was for me is the psychological element of not being at my best on stage as a result of me making not the best decisions in terms of the guidance I was getting leading up to the show.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
And what's the worst bit of advice you've ever dished out as a trainer?
The worst bit of advice, there's been quite a lot actually, to be honest, but the worst bit of advice I have given out would probably be for someone to, it's got to be nutrition related. So I would just say, just the diet plans I used to prescribe people, really. In terms of advice, I just alluded to this on another question, but giving people a diet plan. Don't get me wrong, like for 5-10% of people, a diet plan may serve them for a certain amount of time, but not the ones we were dishing out, right? Where all we knew was the bodybuilding methods of eating meat and vegetables, and not even eating vegetables, just eating chicken and broccoli, bland foods. Exactly. No fats. That's it. And just giving people a restricted diet plan. I would say that's the worst advice I've given people, because then, yes, they do get results for a few weeks, but then they go back to their own ways, and they normally feel shitter about themselves then because they put the weight back on, and you're not teaching them anything. You're not teaching them anything about the behaviors around food, about how to build a relationship with food, a healthy relationship with food, the habits. You're not teaching them anything that's going to serve them, lifelong lessons and get them in shape for the rest of their life. You're actually doing them more harm than good. So,
not learning anything from the process. I'd understand. You know that.
Yes.
Okay. With the emergence of social media and your ever-growing presence on there, how has this affected your psyche, both negatively and positively?
I would say, yeah. So it's been a roller coaster, really. I'm not gonna lie, especially with the emergence of Instagram and the journey that Instagram took me on, because before I actually started competing and competing at with the WBFF, the different federation, and before I actually had a big following, in reality, I think I was better off, because when I built my following up, it was all built up purely on how I looked. So I built up a big following. I got, from 3,000 followers to 50,000 in the space of like a year. And, I was chasing the high of likes, really, the dopamine hit, the instant gratification you get from getting thousands of likes on a picture. I was chasing that. And I was lying to myself, I want to inspire people. Bullshit, really. The only person you're serving, really, when you're chasing likes and posting pictures of you half naked, is yourself, right? So don't get me wrong, there is a place to post a picture of your physique and the work you put in. That's totally fine. You're entitled to show off your hard work. And if you're going to put a caption on there, for example, that's going to help people get in shape and learn from you, great. But it was purely just self-serving. So building my following up, trying to chase the, getting modeling contracts and whatnot. But in reality, I was just lying to myself. It doesn't really work like that on Instagram. You don't just get people knocking your door with modeling contracts by posting pictures of you shredded and half naked, in every photo. So, so I would say with the emergence of social media, all in all, there's been some great things that come out of it. The negatives are sending me down the rabbit hole of building up a following which has no value, really, because the following I built up was just based on people perving on me, essentially, most people. Don't get me wrong, some people on there now I'm helping, and it's changed a bit now. But I would say that, and also the comparisons as well. I fell into now I'm more aware, right? But it's tough, yeah. Looking at other people's lives. Now I'm obviously, like I said, I'm much more aware since educating myself, but the illusion of social media, when you look on there and it looks like everyone else's life is perfect, and like they're killing it and they're, you know, earning more money than you and like they've got a better lifestyle and whatever. But that's not the case, because a lot of these people in reality are living a lie. The ones who are promoting the fact that they're killing it and that you should be, you know, doing what they're doing to earn the money they're earning, and they're posting pictures of them next to nice cars and whatnot.
Yeah.
But all of that's bullshit.
It's funny. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were telling me that a couple of days ago, and they were telling me that someone online is portraying this type of image, but they are, you know, financially struggling. So that's definitely as well what you talked about earlier with modelling. You know, you do get that social comparison, right? When you see some of these models doing certain shoots, and you can often put yourself down and wonder, why didn't I get that opportunity? So it's something that you need to work on yourself and just keep trying to be true to yourself, like you said earlier, and keep trying to stay positive and work on self-help, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everyone is portraying a certain lifestyle on there, and some of the time it's not true. So just be very careful who you follow, and are the people you follow of value to you? If not, don't bother following them. If it's making you feel bad about yourself, then hit the off button, basically.
Absolutely. We said before, you know, if you want to be inspired, so to speak, or motivated, or you want to actually educate yourself, that should be the number one thing, right? If you want to learn about fitness and health, you're already on the right tracks by listening to this podcast, right? It's actually learning from people and educating yourself. Motivation is temporary. So if you're following hundreds of fitness models to get motivation, it's a temporary state. It doesn't last, doesn't get you anywhere long term. And inspiration, I want to be inspired. Again, that's debatable. You know, are you really getting inspired by these people, or as Andrew said, by you looking at, you know, the person who looks like they've got a perfect body on social media, which, let me tell you, most of the time they haven't, because filters and whatnot, and taking 1,000 shots before they get it right. It's, you know, there's a lot of moving parts here. So what I'm trying to say is, you want to focus on educating yourself when you're following people on Instagram. Can you learn from them? Can you learn stuff that you can apply in your life? Because just by looking at photos, and really for most of the time, that's not going to do anything for you. You might think that, oh, you know, that's motivating me, but I don't think subconsciously it's doing you any favors by doing that. So follow maybe 5 to 10 people. I would say, I know, you know, each to their own, but let's just say you want to improve your health. Focus maybe 10 people who are at the top of their game, if that. 5 people who you can really learn from, and who you can connect with, who's going to respond to you when you message them, so you can learn from them. If you want to better yourself, let's just say with your relationships, how about you follow someone who specializes in mental health or whatever, you know? So, yeah.
Okay, 3 tips for those pursuing a career in health and fitness.
So how many tips?
Say 3, top 3.
Top 3 tips. So to pursue a career in health and fitness, okay, my first tip would be to unpack why you want to do it, right? Now, as woo-woo as it sounds, we always say, you know, you need to know why. You do. It's very important. You need to understand the reason why you're getting into health and fitness. Because let me tell you, most of the time, if you're going into health and fitness to earn money, okay, to earn lots of money and be rich, most of the time it's not going to happen. And if you do make it as a millionaire through health and fitness, then you're in the anomaly of people. You're in the below 1% of people who've actually done that. So if you're going in it just to make money, firstly, you're not going to do it because you've got the wrong reasons. People see through it. If you're just after their money, they'll see through it, and it's not going to serve you long term. And secondly, if you're going in without integrity and without actually wanting to help people, then there's no purpose in it for you. So you're not going to get the satisfaction out of it. You're not going to get the fulfillment out of it. It's not going to get you out of bed every morning and give you that drive to succeed unless you're doing it for the right reasons. So that would be my first tip, is go in with the right reasons and have integrity. My second tip would be to ask yourself, you know, what realm of health and fitness you want to get into, right? Because it's quite a big field now. If you want to go in as a personal trainer, then, you know, I would say to have a backup plan, because times are changing. Like, obviously, we're sitting here now. It's kind of our plan is to get our message out there and reach more people. As I said, the reason why we're doing it is to actually help people. That's the number one. We've already got a stable income through personal training, so we're set with that. That's fine. But times are changing. And I think if you haven't got something else going on, like we're in a gym, we're in our close friend's gym right now recording this. They've done really well. They've built it, the brick and mortar way, if you like. They've got their own gym. It's something they love, something they want. They live around the corner. They've got 3 kids. They've got a great life. And it's an awesome gym, and they're doing really well. They've built a really good community here. So if that's something you want to do, you want to go in as a personal trainer, or you want to go in to open your own gym, if that's something that really is something you want to achieve, that's great. But again, you're not gonna get necessarily rich from doing that. But if you go in with the right reasons, as I said, then it's going to give you great satisfaction. It's a great life, and you're getting paid to keep fit. So if you value health, it's the number one thing I would say to get into. And the third thing I just wanted to say, you can elaborate then. Third thing, I guess that's it really. That's my only 2 tips. What would you say?
Yeah, similar really. You can make a good living from it, but it's not going to be, the kind of money you get going into finance and things like that, But I often see a lot of people who work office jobs, and they're in those, those type of categories. They are extremely unhappy with what they do. So for me, it is definitely a very satisfactory job and a very social job and very enjoyable. So you get that side of things. Plus, you can earn a decent living doing it. And also look to do it, if you're going into it, you need to look to do it as a career as well. I think like a lot of people who do personal training, they don't see it as their full-time career. So they don't put full effort into it. They just see it as a stopgap, and they're looking to move on to something else. So if you are working with a trainer, find someone who, like Martin said earlier, has integrity, but also is really passionate about what they do, and they're going to put it all into that session. And again, if you're going into it, think long term, how can I make this a career? How can I better myself? How can I get more qualifications? How can I go into different routes such as online coaching and make a better income for myself? But yeah, just have integrity, make it a career. It's very enjoyable, very, very social job, and I love it right now.
I love it as well, and that's the thing. That human interaction is very important, and it's something you take for granted. I love the job because first of all, it's. I mean, I've been doing it for 12 years, and it's when I look at the person I am. This is all as a result of the people I've surrounded myself with, and let's say I'm doing 30 hours a week as a PT. That's 30 of my hours a week I'm spending with an assortment of different people and meeting great people from all walks of life and learning from them as well. That's a big thing. It's like Sal says off Mind Pump. I've changed the way I look at it now. Sometimes you're with clients. If you're a really busy personal trainer, if you're doing 30 plus hours a week, very taxing because it's a lot of energy you're exerting on each different person if you're doing it properly to the highest of your ability. So, it can get very tough and it can get very tedious if you're doing more than 35, 40 hours personally. And that's not to any disrespect to the individual clients. It's just because of the energy it takes to actually do your job well. So I think if you really want to grow and learn and better your mental health, you should definitely try and learn from your clients. And you can learn something from every client. That's what I've learned as well. They didn't have to necessarily. I've got some really successful clients who inspire me, and that's just not just because of the money they earn. It's because of the lifestyle they have, the relationship they have, and the work-life balance they've created from learning and actually mastering their craft. So that those people you can learn a lot from. I train a woman, for example, who's a neurologist. She's a consultant level neurologist. And we all know how complex the human brain is. So I'm always learning from her about the latest research on the studies on the brain. I have another client who's a lawyer, and he basically runs. He's a partner in a law firm. I learn a lot from him about obviously the different laws and systems in Australia. It sounds a bit geeky, but the way I look at it is like if you want to learn, you can learn a lot from people. You learn more from people than you will, I think, personally, from any book you can read.
Yeah, and you should constantly be looking to better yourself and develop yourself. And I feel that a lot of the clients that you work with have highly successful careers, and they are the type of people who have like disposable income to then use working with a personal trainer. So you are dealing with people who are high up in companies, have their own companies, have successful careers. So anything you can take from that session is, they're looking to get something from you, but when you have conversations, you're definitely getting something from them, and that can help improve your own life and help improve the life of other clients as well.
Absolutely.
Where do you see the Optimize Your Body business in the future, and what do you see for yourself?
Ooh, good question. So, optimize your body. Let's just talk quickly what it is we're trying to do, because a lot of people still don't quite understand what we're doing here. Now, the bottom line is, right, as I said, integrity means a lot to us. We're looking to reach more people with our message. That above all, that's what we're looking to do. Like, there's only so much people you can benefit as a personal trainer, right? So, you're doing like I said, I'm not going to say thousands, right? I think it's hundreds. I always keep saying, I've trained over 1,000 people. I haven't. Let's just say, in my 12 years as a PT, it's hundreds of people I've coached, and a lot of those people at the start of my career, I failed. Okay, I didn't know enough to actually benefit them and change their life, which is what you should be looking to do. If someone's looking to hire you long term as a trainer, you should be transforming their life one way or another. That doesn't mean necessarily anything drastic in terms of someone who's morbidly obese looking like a cover model, right? That's great. Don't get me wrong. It's more about the mental changes you're doing with them in terms of changing their behaviors and making them a healthier human and improving their quality of life, right? But there's only so many people you can actually help doing that. So our goal is, we're sitting here now and we're reaching hundreds of people on the podcast, right? So that alone is reaching more people, and hopefully, even if we can benefit one or two people out of that, then that's great. That gives me satisfaction. And if that person can help someone in their family, great. So optimize your body is essentially what it says on the tin. Is we want to get you to optimize your body, but there's more to it than just your body. Your mind governs your body, right? So we are trying to get to educate people on the fundamentals of fitness, and we are essentially looking to crush all the myths around fitness, which we're already doing based on the feedback I'm getting now from the podcast. We're teaching people slowly about, you don't have to worry about, for example, you're looking to build muscle, you don't have to worry about having a protein shake every couple of hours or eating a meal every couple of hours. You don't have to worry about that. You got to worry about maybe having adequate protein and fueling your body with enough nutrients to get your body in a healthy state, and then you will build muscle. You will build muscle by doing that. The same thing is with people who don't have much energy, and then they turn into supplements, multivitamins. I'm missing out on. No, that's not really what you need. You need to focus once again on the fundamentals. Are you sleeping enough? For example, a lot of people think they're getting good sleep. Online client I have now, she said, yeah, I sleep really well. Just because she sleeps for 7 or 8 hours, then she told me she was waking up every night with her kids, so she's not having great quality. If you're waking up once, that's interrupting the quality of your sleep. So all of these things are the fundamentals, and that's what Optimize Your Body is all about. Our philosophy is helping people achieve sustainable health. And yes, I know at least 70-80% of the people listening to this want to look good. They want to look. A lot of the guys, we have a big male audience. They want to look like us, or at least they want to get leaner and they want to build an aesthetically pleasing physique. And that is what we're about. Don't get me wrong. Our training programs, our specialized training programs, is going to deliver that. It's going to yield you those results. It's going to get you in the shape of your life if you're in it for the long run. It's not going to get you in the shape of your life in 4 weeks. We're not going to lie to you and say you're going to be in the shape of your life after 28 days, because you're not going to. It's going to take you 6 months to a year for most people to get, really, really good results. You're going to get significant results, don't get me wrong, in 4 to 8 weeks. But we're all about the long game. Not necessarily the long game, that's not very appealing. We're all about looking at the bigger picture, is the best way to put it, and getting you to create sustainable health, improve the quality of your life, and get to a point where you're feeling good and you're enjoying your life more. You might, before you hire us as a coach or you buy one of our training programs, you might be in a good state in your life, might be in a good place where you're healthy and everything's good, and you want to take it to another level, and to get you to that other level. Once again, we're always going to go back to the fundamentals. You've got to lift weights properly. By doing our program, you're going to be using all the right concepts and doing that properly. And then if you're listening to our podcast as well, you're always going to be educated on the things which matter. And that is moving more. To create a calorie deficit, for example. You want to get lean and lose body fat? We'll always look to get you maximum results for minimum effort, because most people are putting in way too much. They're putting in so much effort to the point where it's having a detrimental effect on their life. It's degrading the quality of their life. It's damaging their relationships sometimes as well because they're putting so much into their training and doing stupid amounts of cardio, where that's now taking up a lot of their time. They're eating the wrong foods, which is damaging them mentally and physically. So once you get these things in place, the results are groundbreaking. So just to summarize that, optimize your body is about getting people in shape long term, right? But that doesn't sound too sexy, right? We want to get people in shape fast as well, right? Don't get me wrong. With the way we coach people, because we know so much about the basics of nutrition. We're not nutritionists. We never pose to be dietitians or doctors, but we know how important it is to sometimes use a tracking tool to actually track and be aware of what food you're eating. Not necessarily using an app or anything, just learning and being more aware about what you're eating, writing down, keeping a food diary, and learning about awareness, essentially. That is always the first step. So with Optimize Your Body, we always get people to focus on the awareness, whether that be your food intake, how much water you're drinking, how much sleep you're getting, how hard are you training in the gym. Once again, are you doing too much? Are you doing more than you need to? Therefore, putting your body into a state where it doesn't want to build muscle and it doesn't want to lose body fat, because that's what a lot of people are doing. They're doing more than they need to. Metabolism's slowing down, and it's having a detrimental effect. And so we've come in to kind of, in a sense, I'd say, just to wrap it up, to pick the pieces up, really, because a lot of the people that we deal with as coaches and as online coaches as well is people who have tried everything. They've yo-yo dieted, they've tried different diet plans, they've tried different methods of training, they've tried all sorts, and it's got them nowhere. And if anything, it's done them more harm than good in the long run. And then they've come to us because a lot of the time they're overloaded and inundated with bullshit information as well. So we're looking to cut through all the bullshit and give you the facts.
Excellent.
Okay, Andrew's already done his questions, right? But I forgot to hit the record button. So we'll do this again.
As usual, something goes wrong, but
yeah. So it wouldn't be the first time I've not pressed the record button, Drew.
Let's see if I can actually answer the questions the same way I did last time, because I gave some good answers.
You did, which I will be leaking out on social media anyway. So don't worry about that. Okay, when was the last time you checked your abs, Drew? Because I know you had body dysmorphia for a long time. I saw you pinching your skin when I first saw you yesterday as well. You didn't realise you were doing it, but he's not doing it as much now. He had this habit.
I think it was OCD.
OCD, pinching his skin to make sure he was lean enough, and he did it once yesterday, but he's calmed down a bit.
I think I used to do it constantly before. Like it was a real issue for me. So at least I've kind of overcome that. I would say last night I checked my abs. We're going on a short trip for a stag do coming up for a friend's getting married. So last night I checked, looking in decent shape. I've done kind of it's a lot easier now for me to maintain my physique anyway. So I haven't had to struggle as much as I did in the past. So last night it was a quick ab check, but usually before it would have been mirrors in the gym, lifts, elevators, any mirror or any opportunity I had, I'd have a little check and we'd see what was going on there.
That's it. I mean, getting up in the middle of the night and checking your abs, like that is kind of like something, it was just a norm for us. But I mean, at our worst, can you remember like about 4 or 5 years ago, we were like literally every lift we would be getting a selfie.
Yeah.
Oh man, every single time we went to the toilet, right? So every time I'd have a pee, so that is, let's just say 10 times a day you have a pee. That's a minimum of 10 times a day, right? And
I think that was just your thought process, though, right? You were thinking that you'd probably eaten something and you were automatically going to lose your abs, or you hadn't trained efficiently, and that's kind of that can happen to you mentally when you're in the fitness game. So
absolutely. So do you find it challenging trying to make it as a model in New York City?
Yes, it can be extremely challenging. This is where gratitude comes into favour, because I am grateful that I've actually had the opportunity to live in New York, to be signed to one of the top agencies there, and to be going on castings and competing with the best. And essentially you need to remember that you are competing with, opposite to LA, you're competing with the best models in the world, really, when you're in New York. And sometimes I forget that when I'm not getting some jobs. So essentially, yes, it's very difficult, because you're going to a casting and there may be hundreds of other men who look similar to you. They're looking for a certain look. You sometimes have to be quite thick-skinned, because you are going to get a lot of rejections before you get that yes. So I've been fortunate to be in a few magazines, do a few other shoots as well. I am now working on myself constantly, doing like test shoots, trying to get better. in front of the camera, trying to be more confident, doing stuff like this, podcasting, going to as many castings as I can. And then I'm hoping that, I'll get more breaks, or I'll get my big break soon. But yeah, definitely grateful for doing it now. But to say it's not difficult, I would be lying.
That's a great point as well. And it's surprising like how much, doing podcasts and social media stuff, but I'd say mainly podcasts, how much it actually benefits your confidence. Because, it's very challenging when you're doing a podcast when you first start, like anything. But you get better and better at communicating and talking, essentially, which is very, very important for your confidence, because you have to have a lot of confidence and belief in yourself, right? To go to castings against all those kind of people. But tell them quickly about you didn't take it too well, did you? About the Madrid shoot?
Oh yeah. So recently I went to a casting, and then I was told I was put on hold for a shoot. I travelled to Madrid in Spain for like 4 days. And I just thought, wow, like this is a huge opportunity for me. I'm going to be doing like a TV commercial. This could be my big break. This could then lead on to other things. So essentially when you're on hold, you can't do any other jobs during that time, but you also, I guess you're pitted against maybe, I don't know how many other people. So on Monday I was waiting, thinking I'm going to be traveling to Madrid tonight. And then unfortunately I didn't get the call, and like it can be quite crushing mentally, So it's how you process that. And you need to understand that you're not going to get every job. So if you are going into this industry thinking, once I get signed to an agency, that's it, I've made it. No, you have to work through the process, work on yourself, get better, and then those breaks will come for you. And I believe there's like some of the top models in the game who've had a lot of rejections from agencies. Some people have been turned away by like 40, 50 agencies before they've even got their chance. I was fortunate enough to be picked up by an agency online. Do you know what I mean? So I'm definitely making steps to get better, but you do have to sometimes just move on from the last job. They are looking for a certain look and a certain person. That may be you one day, that may be someone the next. So don't dwell on it. Don't let it get to you. Just move on to the next one and then keep working out and keep going for it.
Awesome. Which body part do you struggle with the most?
This is calves. Move on to the next question. It's a sore subject.
Do you ever get bored when eating clean most of the time?
Before, yes, because my diet was terrible. It was just consistent of like broccoli, rice, brown rice, chicken, breast. Very bland, very dry, no seasoning. Yes, I was bored. Then when I ate other foods like processed foods or so quote-unquote cheat foods, I don't like using that term, but I would binge badly. Now I'm at a point where I thoroughly enjoy eating whole natural foods. I thoroughly enjoy cooking delicious meals. I thoroughly enjoy going to the supermarket, choosing quality types of foods and nutrients and things like that. So I'm at a different part of my life where, as I don't crave those type of foods anymore, I'm now able to eat a bit of cake if I don't, if I, like for example, for my birthday, and then not binge and eat like a load of ice cream and chocolate and stuff like that. Felt good. I move on the next day. I'm back to eating back into my normal routine. So yeah, I think the more you do it, the more you start bringing in vegetables and non-processed foods into your diet. Your taste buds do change. Different foods start tasting delicious and more flavoursome. So for me, no, it's not a challenge anymore. I'm at a great point right now.
And that's what our message is teaching people to, connect to how they feel when they eat certain foods and feeling good, right? And that's what Andrew was saying then, I think, in other words, is he is now at the point now where he's realised intuitively, like his body now knows he feels good when he eats better. Therefore, that then automatically drives you to eat the healthier foods. And then on the flip side, he's also in tune with the fact that if he has a piece of cake, physically, it's not doing him any favours for his health. But mentally, sometimes you need that. You're at a birthday party, you have a cake, so what? As long as you're not binging and eating the whole cake and then feeling guilty afterwards, that's the most important thing, and that's what we try and teach people.
Yeah, I think binging and eating like that before would have led me on to having a poor sleep. Then the next day I would try and punish myself for training, and it was just like that vicious spiral. Yeah. So now I'm just like, I'm good. Next day I'm back to it, I feel good.
That's
Move
it.
on.
Back in the game.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced depression or anxiety? And if so, how did you get through it?
Yes, I have experienced depression, most certainly. Went through a tough time. I haven't even, I've really shared this with my closest family and friends. So it's sometimes a tough subject for me to talk about.
Yeah.
I would say, it may have been linked to maybe related to how I was treating myself physically and mentally through health and fitness, believe it or not. We look at it as a realm where it's quote unquote like healthy to be in this industry, but a lot of people are some of the most unhealthy people you will meet mentally. Right? So yeah, I'll probably delve into it more a little deeper another time.
Yeah,
it's a tough subject to talk about, right?
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Certainly went through.
Why do you find it hard then? Sorry to interrupt. Why do you find it hard to talk about, do you reckon? Is it because of the stigma? Or is it because
probably like stigma surrounding it. Like, am I weak? Am I, you know what I mean? But obviously we're aware now that a lot of men are going through the same thing. You did a post on it the other day. Maybe 1 in 4 people are going through depression or anxiety and suffering. Especially now social media is more prevalent. It's probably getting even harder. For myself, how did I get through it? I got through it through making myself a better person, like starting to educate myself through listening to podcasts like this. I'm not just saying that because we're doing a podcast now. That literally changed my life, finding podcasts.
Same.
Changing my diet, my relationship with health, my relationship with exercise, my relationship with family members, friends, you know what I mean? Being more social, practicing gratitude, meditating, those type of things. And that's something that I've let slip lately, and I've got out of my morning routine. So I just started, and I felt like kind of feeling a little bit different. I wasn't feeling as good as I once was, so I started bringing that back into my routine this past couple of weeks, even trying to find quiet time for myself, and sometimes you need to be a bit selfish in this situation, plus you also need to be social and be with your friends because they're the ones who are going to help you through it, right?
Just to go a tiny bit deeper, one more question on that. At your worst then, with your depression, what was actually going through your head? I know it's hard to explain, but what was it you were feeling exactly then?
Just like you don't want to do anything, basically. It's just tough to, you might be on a cerebral high, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, and like it'll hit you, and it's like, what's going on? Like you can't put your finger on it sometimes why it's happening, but you won't want to socialize with anyone. Yeah, you're in a very foul mood. You might want to stay in bed all day. Your simple tasks become very difficult. You can't focus on anything. You're bedridden. It's a tough process to go through.
Absolutely,
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Like, I really wouldn't.
No, it's just a silent killer.
Yeah.
What motivates you to stay in shape all year round?
Just being healthy, like being able to have relationships with close loved ones, family members, long into the future. Being able to move well. Being able to feel better. I guess that links from the last question there. If I don't have health and fitness in my life and staying in shape all year round, I'm not going to feel right mentally, so that's going to have a detrimental effect on me.
How about staying in shape physically? Sorry.
Okay, physically. So,
I was just going to say, no, it could be anything.
I like to feel good in clothing, do you know what I mean? I like
and without clothing,
exactly. You want to feel good naked, right? I love the process of it. I turned this into my lifestyle. This is my profession. I like to look good so clients can see that I do practice what I preach, I guess, in some regards. Just basically that. And obviously modelling, I need to stay in shape for now.
Yeah.
So that gives me another goal. It used to be playing sport, now it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess having a plan that's going to help you, you have a plan, you have something to work towards, that's going to give you that extra motivation, because help create healthy habits to stay in shape long term, I guess.
Definitely, and something you scraped over then is I'd like to say is building is character building. That's the number one thing. Andrew was saying, the process of it, right? That is something you need to really hone in on, right? Is the process, focusing on the actual process instead of the progress, because it's not the shape you get in physically which gives you the maximum benefits from being a fit and healthy person. It's actually the mental side of it, the character building. I'm a completely, God knows what kind of person I would be if I'd never lifted weights from a young age. It's built my character up from doing, and that's what I love about fitness. It's black and white. You go to the gym, you lift weights, or you do whatever you're going to do. You feel better. That bleeds into your life. Eventually, you start looking better. You get stronger. It's black and white. I went to the gym, I put the work in, I got stronger, I built muscle. I went to the gym again, I put work in, I got stronger again, I built muscle. It's black and white, and it builds your character. So focus on the process, 100%. It seems you have It seems you love your dog Floyd, but do you find it, and it seems the audience do as well, but do you find it hard looking after your dog, with your busy schedule living in NYC?
Yes, I love him on times, and there's probably about 30 minutes when I come home from work that I want to strangle him, but we won't mention that, right? But he's a beautiful dog. Yes, definitely. It's when you grow up in Wales, like in the valleys, it's countryside. So my experience with dogs as I was younger is that they get that freedom. They're not really in the house; they're outdoors. They're running around, plenty of space. They are, you're able to take them on walks in the countryside if you need to, because that's not too far away, right? Whereas the difficulty with in New York is that the majority of us have a small confined space to live in. So he's on your lap constantly. He doesn't get as much opportunity to go outside. So the challenge for me is having him there constantly, having to deal with different behavioural issues that he does have. He's a really good dog, like for the most part. So I'm not going to say that. But I would like to be able to give him that freedom just to open the door. Hey Floyd, go out into the backyard or the back garden, have a run around. As much as I like to take him on long walks, my time is limited. So I take him usually in the evening. My wife takes him in the morning. On the weekends, I have a little bit more freedom. So when I do have that freedom, Central Park is open Sunday and Saturday early morning. That's like a 20-30 minute walk for me. So I'll walk in there and you can leave him off the lead. So he runs around. You can just see how happy he is. So challenging thing for me is not being allowing him to be off the leash or the lead and to just run around constantly and be out in the countryside. And there's no, it's a concrete jungle, right? So
yeah, exactly. How do you deal with life when you get stressed out, Drew?
Probably kind of going back over the points I made earlier. So it would be just taking time out to myself, doing things I enjoy. So that would be maybe reading as much as I can, trying to learn. Focusing on like nighttime routines. So am I getting enough sleep? Am I switching off from electronics at a certain time? So I have an app on my phone, or there's a link to the iPhone now that cuts off certain things at like whatever time you want. So I try and cut off social media at 8 o'clock at night and not have it on until early morning, because I know something on there is going to trigger me and it stress me out. I like to meditate when I can. Just do some deep breathing. Training, obviously, that helps me massively with stress and feel good. And just spending time with the right people, I guess.
Great stuff. Finally, if you could recommend one exercise for maximum results, what would it be and why?
That exercise would be deadlift, mainly because it's a bang for buck exercise. It's going to recruit a lot of muscle fibers, but it also focuses on posterior chain, which is very neglected by society these days. We're always doing stuff in this plane of motion in front of us, sagittal plane, so reaching in front, reading in front, on our phones in front, very dominant probably through our hips, rather than being dominant through hamstrings, glutes, and our back muscle. So posturally, it's a good exercise. Also, it's great for building strength, building muscle, and building a nice developed physique. So,
awesome. Yeah, deadlifts are great for most people. I think that's the go-to for me when I have new clients. Literally every single one of them, really, as Andrew said, front dominant. The front side of the body, the hips. The shoulders are rounded. So to get them to activate that posterior chain, the back side of the body, is a game changer, really. You're activating the whole posterior chain, which is going to improve your posture, but also for building muscle. I mean, that is number one. Obviously, barbell squats, we always talk about, is the king, but it's very hard to actually perfect the barbell squat. So deadlifts is it's actually, there's no room for error with the deadlift. However, if you can get to doing that, in terms of injury, but if you can get to doing a deadlift properly with good form, absolute game changer. Yeah. So that's a wrap then, Drew, man. It's nice to have you in person, fella.
It is, man. Yeah. We're usually on a different time zone, right? So
exactly. How's this stag do going to go then, mate? We're going to get twisted, or
nice quiet one, I reckon. So
yeah, it's going to be messy, man.
Early nights,
definitely.
Plenty of sleep.
But we can't drink like the guys we're going with. I mean, we can't drink like them. So. No. We'll probably be face planted by 6 p.m.
6 a.m. probably tomorrow morning.
Face planted into a fucking pile of poo somewhere.
All right.
Anyway, wouldn't be the first time. Nice one, Drew.
All right, thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.